Hello and welcome to this tutorial by Aberdeen City EAL Service on ideas for using Google Jamboard to help support literacy. This tutorial will cover a brief introduction on the features of Jamboard before moving on to look at some different ways in which Jamboard can be used. Everything shown in this tutorial is suitable for EAL learners, but it is also suitable for using with other pupils in your class as well. Everything that is shown can be created easily and used within your Google Classroom for online learning if this is the platform that your school is using. Firstly, we will just take a quick look at what is Jamboard. So Jamboard is a Google product and it is promoted as being a free interactive whiteboard tool. Jamboard itself doesn't have lots and lots of features, but the ones that it does have can be really useful. So to find Jamboard, you can either do a simple Google search, or if you are already logged into your Google account, you can look for the waffle in the top right hand corner and you can scroll down until you find the Jamboard logo. What I'm going to do now is just move on to a blank Jamboard slide and I will briefly show you the different features that Jamboard has. So the first thing that you might want to do is you might want to set a background for your Jamboard. And to do this, you can come up here and click on the Set Background button. There are a few presets that Jamboard offers, but if none of those are suitable, you do have the option to add an image as well. You can upload an image that you currently have on your device. You can use your camera to take a picture. You could search using Google Images, use an image that you've already got in your Google Drive. One thing that I will just mention just now is that when you do your Google image search, Google reminds only to select images that you have confirmed that you have the license to use. And I am not confident that the ones Google offers here are definitely copyright free. So for example, if I put in happy emoji, it brings up lots of options that you could use and you could insert them as a background to your Jamboard. But I can't be sure that these ones are definitely copyright free. So if that is something that you are worried about, you can always open a new tab and you can do your own search, find an image that you are happy to use, and then you can download it to your device. Once you've done all of that, you can come back to the upload button and find the device that you have chosen that way. So that's just something to be mindful of when you are selecting images. Then we have got the tools down the left hand side here. So if I click on the first one, there is the option to use the pen tool, a slightly thicker marker tool, the highlighter tool, or the brush tool. Jamboard is really limited at the moment in the options of colours that you can have, but you have got the choice of 6 here. So I'm going to select the marker tool just now and in yellow, and then I am able to draw straight on to the Jamboard. Once I have drawn my picture, if I'm not happy with it, I can either clear the frame, but that will get rid of everything that I've currently got on the frame. So if you've got more than just your drawing, you might not want to use that button there. But there's also the eraser tool here, and you can use that just to rub out your picture. So I will just do that just now. Underneath the erase tool, you have got the select tool, and that tool just helps you that when you've got lots of different things on your Jamboard, you can use that to edit them and move them around. You have also got the sticky note or post-it note tool, and again, you've got a few color options to choose from, and there's also a transparent option at the end there. So for example, if I pick the yellow one and you just type your message, I would say, today I learned this sound ch. I'm going to press save, and that puts it straight onto the Jamboard. So you can just click anywhere on the screen to get rid of that, and then you're able to click and change the position of your post-it note. You can increase or decrease the size, and you've also got the option to rotate your post-it note like that. If you click on the three dots in the top right hand corner, you've got the option to edit. You can duplicate your post-it note as many times as you like, and you can also delete your post-it note from here as well. Underneath the post-it note, we have got the options to add images, and again, it's the same as if you were going to be adding an image for the background. There is a shape tool with a few different choices. So for example, if I was going to use the arrow tool, I just draw it like that. And then up at the top, I have got the option to change the color of the background. Underneath the shape tool, I have got the option to add a text box. So for example, if I was just going to say, just check up at the top because it might be on. So this one's already on the white text color, so that's why I can't see it. So I just changed to the black one there, and I might say, today I feel happy. And again, you are able just to stretch this text box, move it around. You can duplicate the top text box, and you can delete from here as well. There are just the 6 color options, and for sizing, there's limited options in that as well. So there's a few different size options if you click this button at the top here. One major limitation is that there are no choices for the font that you want to use. So this is the default font for Jamboard. Underneath the text box, there is the laser tool, and this is really great if you are doing a live lesson with pupils where you're recording your screen, because you can direct their attention to certain points of the Jamboard, or if you are doing a pre-recorded lesson with a Jamboard, this tool works the same for that. And you can press down and it will draw a line which then quickly disappears as well. So that is just a very quick introduction to the different features of Jamboard. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some little activities that you could create and assign to your pupils on their Google Classroom to help support literacy. So this first activity here would just be something that I might use as a morning challenge or morning starter activity, or just as a little literacy warm-up. And this is based on the game Boggle. So I would be looking for my pupils to make as many different words as they could using the letters that they have been given. I might look for them to be making the longest word that they could, maybe how many 4-letter words can they make, how many words beginning with S could they make. So there's lots of different options in the challenge that you could set them. And either I would upload this to my Google Classroom and ask pupils to submit their answers on a Google Doc, or I might just upload it as a material and ask pupils to make a comment in the box below with, for example, the longest word that they've been able to make. So moving on to a little spelling activity that you could do. I've got the pupils spelling words here. I have managed to insert a title. As I mentioned just previously, the text options are very limited for Jamboard. So at the end of the tutorial, I will show you how you can add text like this. And for this activity, I would be looking for the pupils to build their spelling words. Before I go on any further, I would just say that if you are assigning a Jamboard task to pupils on the Google Classroom, I would highly recommend that you make a little video tutorial where you share your screen and you show pupils exactly what it is that you are looking for them to do. And this will be really beneficial to your EAL pupils who might find lots of written instructions really difficult to read and to understand. But it will also be helpful for all pupils. So for this task here, I would just be looking for the pupils to click and drag the letters to spell the words in their spelling list. If you have more words and it's not going to all fit on the one Jamboard slide, you can simply add in a new slide up at the top here, and you could have your list split in two. So half your words on this one and then half your words on the next slide. So moving on just to the next activity that I've got, this would be another activity that I would use with my spelling words. And I've made a sort of word search using the post-it note tool. And I would be looking for my pupils to select one of the pens, maybe the marker pen here, and I'm looking for them to find their spelling words and to click and draw around them when they found them, like so. So moving on now to a little phonics activity, and these ones I have just chosen with the sound A, and I am looking for the pupils to match the words and the pictures. So for example, I've got brain, and I'm looking for them just to put the correct picture beside the word. Snail, brain, train, paint, and nail. And this can be really good for EAL pupils in helping them to develop their vocabulary so they can see the written word and the picture next to it. What you could also do is you could have the pupils writing the words out in their own language as well so that they can make a comparison between the English language and their first language. Moving on here, we have got a little story. This one, the story of A. And I would be looking for my pupils to use the highlighter tool to find and highlight all of the A words, just like so. And again, afterwards, you can make a number of different tasks to follow on from this. For example, the pupils could be writing their own sentence using the A words that they found. And again, for EAL pupils, they could be translating these A words into their own language to help with their understanding and to help make comparisons between the word in their first language and the word in English. Here we've got a little activity for if you were comparing two sounds which sound the same but have the different spellings, and I would be looking for pupils just to sort the words by their spelling. So we've got there, and they would just move each one into the right part of the Jamboard. And then building on from this, we have got one with just the pictures. This can be really good for the EAL learners because, again, it helps to develop their vocabulary and they have to think carefully about what actually is the word in English and how do I spell the word. I would really recommend, if pupils are finding this challenging, that they have Google Translate open in a tab and then they can use their knowledge of first language to translate and find the word in English and then sort it into the correct place on the Jamboard, just like so. So they would just move each picture into the correct place. And these ones over here. And afterwards, they could be writing the words for these pictures to make the connection between picture and the written word. So, moving on now to some reading activities, and this is an activity for the book Painting the Loft by the Oxford Reading Tree. And the Oxford Owls website is a really great one for being able to log in and find lots of these Oxford Reading Tree books. And they do have the option to for you to press play and the story is read to you. So that can be really helpful for the EAL pupils so that they can hear the words being pronounced correctly. So here I have just picked a few of the tricky words from the story, and I have got definitions for the words, and I am just looking for the pupils to be able to match the word with the definition. And again, for your EAL pupils, you could be getting them to translate these English words into their own language to help their understanding and to help find out what the meaning is. And you could also be getting them to either use the image tool down here or on a separate piece of paper. They could be drawing little images for the tricky words to help them remember them and again to help with understanding. And then moving on from that one, this time I have written the tricky words for them here, but I would be looking for them to find the definition themselves and to add in their own post-it note with the definition here and then moving it next to the correct word. And then another reading based task is I have copied some sentences from the reading book and I am looking for pupils just to sequence these by finding the one that comes first and dragging it up to the number one, which one comes next, etc. And then another reading task here, I have taken a sentence from the book and then I am looking for the pupil to drag and build this sentence so that it makes sense. And again, making a video tutorial to show the pupils exactly what it is you would like them to do. And by doing this, it also means that you can explain about sentence structure, about looking for the capital letter to help you decide which word starts the sentence, about remembering to have the full stop at the end, and thinking about word order and things like that. So that's just really helpful if you've got the video tutorial to go through this with your EAL pupils and other pupils as well. Once the pupil has built the sentence, like so, then you can get them to use the pen tool over here. If I just click the pen, and they can practice writing out the sentence below. For example, just like this, she and the pupil can practice copying down the sentence. So moving on is another little activity for focus grammar. And for example here, I am looking for pupils to think of as many adjectives as they can to describe this picture. Um, so I've added in two for them on the sticky notes, and then I'm asking them to think of some others that they could use. Type them on the sticky notes and add them in. Again, for this task, I would suggest that pupils have Google Translate open in a tab so that they can think of words in their own language, first of all, and then translate them to find the English equivalent. Another one here for focus grammar is I have got a little story on the Jamboard. And then in my instructions, I would be saying to the pupils, for example, I would like you to highlight all of the adjectives that you find in this story in blue. So I would get the blue and just highlight the adjectives in the story. Maybe could you highlight all of the verbs in yellow so they're looking through for any verbs that they find in the story? And maybe could you highlight all of the adverbs in green? So there are lots of different options for that one for VCOP activities and focused grammar activities. And then at the end here, I've just got a few more examples of how you could use this for like sentence building, especially for EAL learners who are just learning to write in sentences. So it's again looking at the features of the sentence. How do we know which word comes first? How do we know what the order of the words would be? And just going through that with them on a live video first before you assign the task to them. And for this one here, it's very easy to change the sentences by the complexity of the words that you've chosen or by the number of words that you've got the pupils to use to build the sentences. So that is just a couple of ideas there for you for how you could use the Jamboard to support literacy. One thing that I would say is when you are uploading these to the Google Classroom for the pupils, if you are making them for either whole class or small groups, make sure that when you assign the task, you make a copy for each student because you need each student to have their own Jamboard. If you don't, then they will all be assigned the same one and they'll all be working from it. And that is also really beneficial at times. So, for example, if you wanted to do an exit ticket, maybe at the end of the day, and you wanted all of the pupils to post onto the same Jamboard, let's just say, for example, something that they learned that day, or maybe their favorite activity in the online learning that day. So, for example, people might type my favorite activity was writing an imaginative story. And then they might add their name as well to the post-it note because it just makes it easier for you to see which one was posted by each pupil. And then if you save that, that's on the Jamboard, but another pupil can add their post-it note to it as well. So Jamboards apparently are able to have up to 50 people working on them. So perfect for a whole class if you are wanting them to all work on the same Jamboard. And the last little thing that I was going to mention was just how you can get the text for the different headings. So if I just go back to this one here, I've managed to make a heading there, which wasn't done in Jamboard. So what I did is I just typed into Google cool text generators, and it came up with a number of different options for using that. I'm going to try and just come off and show the website that I did use. So if I just come to the presenting here just for a moment, I will stop presenting and then I will just share my window here. And then hopefully that will let you now see this screen here. So the website that I was using was called maketext.io, and it lets you use lots of different options for your text. So if you just scroll down, you're able to pick from some presets that are already made. If I just go and pick this first one here, you can change the color palettes, you can change the font size, the type of font you use. So you can really have a lot of different options. So let's just say, for example, I've made my title. What you need to do is just come down here and download as a PNG. If you click that one and download, and then in a moment that will just start downloading to your device. And if you go back to the Jamboard and you go to insert image. So add an image and upload from your device. You can then add in your image just like that. It just takes a little moment for it to process. And then that's it in the slide there. And again, you can just resize, you can duplicate, and then just reposition that where you want on the slide. So hopefully that has been a helpful tutorial for you. Please check out our website, which is at www.accceal.org.uk for further information and resources that are on there as well. And please check out our Aberdeen City Council Twitter page and Facebook page as well.